I have to say this without getting emotional, but I'm very proud of my husband. And I know many of you are too.
That's the best.
And
Great.
Counting or not counting gang violence?
Great.
We think that Charlie Kirk just got shot in the neck. Hey, ooh, ah.
I'm not saying she deserved it, but I'm saying God's timing is always right.
Yo, they got Charlie Kirk, bro. I've never been happier.
Never believe the reason I'm smiling. And it has nothing to do with Charlie Kirk. Nothing to do with...
I would say pour one out for Kirky Boy, but I don't waste good beer on little bitches.
Rest in peace, bozo!
Charlie Kirk just got put down like a fucking dog in Utah.
I do not, and I will not, ever feel bad when bad people get what the fuck they deserve.
I just heard that someone shot Charlie Kirk? Thoughts and prayers.
Oh no, someone shot Charlie Kirk. Look, I don't know who needs to hear this today, but that's how you pick up a woman.
Homie dead! Fuck your homie dead! Fuck your homie dead! He got shot in the head! We got Charlie another. We got Charlie another.
heard someone got shot today. I had a tummy ache this morning. Stay alive out there.
The sympathy for Charlie Kirk is weird. You don't have to like violence, but I'm confused as to how you thought the revolution was going to be magically bloodless.
I've been saying we need to bring back political assassinations. I don't feel bad, and I don't think that everyone deserves the right to free speech. I think some people should be afraid to express their opinion in public.
I didn't like what he said, and I didn't like his opinions, and I don't really give a shit that he's dead.
The best part of this whole goddamn thing is that he is not martyr material, so his death will mean nothing. It will activate no one. It will impact few. It's just great.
There are a lot of people that are like, no matter what side of politics you're on, you should never celebrate something bad happening to someone. I, on the other hand, do cheer when bad things happen to bad people.
Charlie Kirk just got shot.
I saw the video before they even put out the confirmation. There was no chance that he made it through that. This wasn't the one we were hoping for, but a welcome surprise nonetheless.
I'm surprised that y'all didn't get rid of him sooner. And I'm surprised that you guys aren't getting rid of more people. Like, don't stop with him. Don't let him be the end dog. Get rid of them all. His wife deserves to go too. Y'all keep on talking about his wife and kids. They need to go too because they're carrying on that mentality and that lineage. Like, get rid of the whole family. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Why did you guys stop with him?
Nietzsche said that mankind will have to learn a harsh lesson before he can truly progress. And that lesson is that we have to be wary of the resentful. The deepest and cruelest hate in all of history has not come from the strong and their fury, but has always come from the vengeance of the weak. This is the dark, unspoken demon that lives beneath modern liberated society. Gifting everybody rights does not solve the psychological problem within man, that losers resent winners. And when this resentment is ignited, the resentful gather together and charge around as mobs, pulling down everything they see as higher and more successful than them. But we struggle to grasp how dangerous this emotion really is. Because when resentment infects a person, it becomes crafty, and it makes them crafty. They lie to themselves about what is wrong with them. They hide it under a beautiful mask, because it is far too ugly to look at directly. So a resentful man tells himself and tells other people that he is pursuing something beautiful instead of something malicious. He tells those around him that he is a champion for equality, that he feels passionate about fairness, that he is bringing the world towards justice. This is the predicate for modern culture. It is a victim psychosis. All these corporations and institutions going woke, simping for any claim of oppression. They do this because it is the most effective path to power. And unless man learns, unless he transforms and overcomes this resentment, he will be forever exploited this way. Every achievement of freedom, liberty, equality, and justice that inspires his heart will be co-opted by these savvy, cruel, and devious revolutionaries. There is a swelling storm of resentment being stirred up in many parts of the population. Malicious opportunists could try to use this to their own advantage. But there is a white pill. If Western man wishes not to learn the hard way, he simply needs to become aware of this vengeance. He needs to raise himself to a higher level of consciousness and understand the nature of this hate. As Nietzsche said, for man to be redeemed from vengeance is for me the bridge to the highest hope, and a rainbow after long, long storms.
Something ominous is happening to men in America. Anyone who pays attention knows that. But it's odd how rarely you hear it publicly acknowledged. The following is a transcript of supporting facts I've gleaned from a 2018 report by Tucker Carlson titled Men in America.
Nobody cares about when you do that and there's like muscles there. Nobody cares about that. We don't want to see that.
Men are not meant to be dominant. Men are meant to be submissive. They're meant to be worker ants. They're supposed to listen to women. You are a queen. They are worker ants.
Let's start with the most basic, life and death. American men will die on average 5 years before average American women. The saddest reason for shortness of life in men is suicide. 77% of all suicides in America are committed by men, and the overall rate is increasing at a dramatic rate.
Emergency 911. Help me, my brother's dead. What's your name? Mickey. What do you mean by your brother's dead? He killed himself. How did he do it? With a gun.
Between 1997 and 2014, there was a 43% rise in suicide deaths amongst middle-aged American men.
Feminists do not want you. Shut the fuck up. Patriarchy. 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 Feminists hate patriarchy.
If you're a middle-aged man, you know at least one peer who's killed themselves in recent years. Our leaders pledge to create more opportunities for girls and women. But men don't need help. They're the patriarchy. They're fine. More than fine. Are they fine?
Do you think men are important? Like for what?
Complete sexual freedom is not actually a sustainable system.
Having sex with 100 men in a single day was not what OnlyFans model Lily Phillips expected it to be.
It's not for the weak girls, if I'm honest. It was hard.
OnlyFans, I think, is a step along this path. Because what OnlyFans offers is not just pornography. It offers a parasocial relationship. It gives the impression to customers that this woman cares about them.
This guy sent me a 4-page letter essentially asking to get to know me. And then he included his resume. He included a dating profile with a QR code so I can scan and see pictures of him. Proudest accomplishments, #1 in computer science in my Princeton graduating class of 2018. Pretty impressive. Deployed a neural net at work. Machine learning, yay buzzwords. His life goals, what I want to do for the world, make science fiction a reality faster. And then he has his gaming credentials. Fall Guys. 0 wins. I think it's gonna have to be a pass from me. Thank you for the letter, but yep.
70% of American men are now overweight or obese.
I'm right. Oh, it's my finger.
Men are becoming less male fundamentally, measurably. Sperm counts across the West have plummeted. They're down almost 60% since the 1970s. Scientists don't know why.
Some of you may know that I get affected by some panic attacks, and that's happening right now. Lisa.
I chose women. I chose America.
Moving on. I'm moving on. We're moving on.
Lower testosterone in men is associated with depression, lethargy, weight gain, and decreased cognitive ability. Nothing like this has ever happened to a population before.
Another blaring example, drag queen story time. It's happening in Canada and America, where some public schools and libraries invite drag queens, some dressed like torn demons, to read to young children.
And it's a social deconstructionist agenda. They're using children, little 5-year-olds, to accomplish this.
Then the doors burst open. The king and queen walk through. There's our precious daughter.
If they did not know what love meant, who would?
They were mocking the Last Supper by putting on a drag show.
Looks like we have a Satanist to begin. Yeah. In the name of Jesus, I repudiate this unclean spirit.
When you look back into historical time, you reach a world whose psychology was very much like the psychology of our own time. It was a psychology of despair and exhaustion. This is because Greek science, which had evolved under the aegis of Democritean atomism and Platonic metaphysics, had essentially come to a dead end.
Where go you, my friend? You're crawling in the wrong direction. That wind you feel is coming from England. Scotland's that way.
We can debate the reasons why this happened, and so everything just dissolved into competing schools of philosophical speculation, and a profound pessimism spread through the Hellenistic world. And out of that pessimism, and in the context of that kind of universal despair which attends the dissolution of great empires, a literature was created from the 1st to the 4th centuries after Christ, which we call the Hermetic corpus.
The demiurge. Is the demiurge related to the overmind?
No, I think the demiurge is like a negative expression. I think of the overmind as the logos, you know. It's the understanding and self-existence which permeates everything. And the demiurge is the force of matter and time and cosmic destiny that is always trying to lock in the logos and condition it and make it subject to the rules of the physical universe of space and time. And the logos is like something from, this is all Gnostic theology, by the way, this is just straight from the book. The logos is trying to struggle through the labyrinth of the material universe to escape, to rejoin the real source of itself, which is outside of matter. Matter is viewed as an entrapment. It is a religion of understanding. Gnostic means one who understands. Gnosis is a special kind of understanding, and the Gnostics claimed to possess this, and it's a very peculiar kind of knowledge because it divides one from the world. Gnostics were profoundly phobic of the world. They are the ones who decided that the earth is an iron prison, that in fact this universe is the creation of an inferior being, a mad god, if you will, that somehow the pure, holy, real light of being was scattered through a universe of darkness and of saturnine power. They didn't like to have children. In many Gnostic sects, the only forms of sexual activity that they approved of were forms that were guaranteed to not lead to conception, because they felt that to have a child is to trap light in matter, and that was an abomination. The central perception of Gnosticism, no matter how you slice it, is that we don't belong here, that we are strangers, that something terrible happened, and that accounts for why we're here, that we were destined for a much better deal, and something went terribly, terribly wrong. Well, even though this is this really bad scene, it still, nevertheless, has this extremely tenuous connection to the highest and hidden All-Father in the form of what is called the scintilla, the spark, the soul spark of divinity. So then the goal of Gnostics, born into this unfortunate world, is to gather the light together, to save the light. The light is defiled by its presence in the world of material existence. And their whole theology then is, what is the light? How should we gather it? And once we have it, what do we do with it?
The pandemic created at least 40 new big pharma billionaires. Pharmaceutical corporations like Moderna and Pfizer made $1,000 of profit every second from the COVID-19 vaccine.
Good Morning America is brought to you by Pfizer.
CBS Health Watch sponsored by Pfizer.
Anderson Cooper 360. Brought to you by Pfizer.
More than two-thirds of Congress received campaign funding from pharmaceutical companies in the 2020 election. Pfizer chairman Albert Bourla told Time magazine in July 2020 that his company was developing a COVID vaccine for the good of humanity, not for money. And of course, Pfizer made $100 billion in profit in 2022.
ABC News Nightline. Brought to you by Pfizer. Making a difference. Brought to you by Pfizer.
CNN Tonight. Brought to you by Pfizer.
The richness of this intellectual world is there's nothing comparable. And it shows the passion with which people were trying to understand the dilemma of a dying world, because this is what they were confronted with. The intellectuals of the empire could feel it all slipping through their hands.
And may I just mention, finally, and this is also a fact, that you, the American public, funded the development of that. The German public funded the BioNTech vaccine. When it came to the profits, they took the profits. When it came to the funding, you paid for the funding.
Our greatest responsibility is to serve our Treasure Valley communities, the El Paso, Las Cruces communities, Eastern Iowa community.
As soon as it became clear that it would no longer be possible to control people by force, it immediately followed as almost as a corollary that you're going to have to control what they think. The corporate elite, basically.
Early Start. Brought to you by Pfizer. Friday night on Aaron Burnett Out Front. Brought to you by Pfizer.
Don't have any illusions about the Roman Empire. Boris Pasternak goes off on a rip about ancient Rome, and he describes it as a bargain basement on 3 floors. I mean, this was an empire that lived by human cruelty. It was on the backs of slaves that this airy intellectual speculation was based. I mean, it was a tremendously pluralistic society, but that pluralism was maintained by standing armies of enormous size and policies of occupation of enormous cruelty.
If you have what we nowadays call a totalitarian state or a military-run state or whatever, you really don't care much about what people think. They can think anything they feel like because you can control them with a bludgeon. But as the state loses its capacity to coerce through threats or terror or just one or another form of force, then other means have to be found. The other means would be the manufacture of consent.
The sharing of biased and false news has become all too common on social media. More alarming, some media outlets publish these same fake stories without checking facts first.
A lot of mechanisms are used, and one of them, the primary one, is thought control, indoctrination. In the United States, this is really a one-party state. It's a business party with 2 factions. and they control the media, the ideological system, and they impose very sharp constraints on any form of policy.
We are extremely proud of the quality, balanced journalism that CBS 4 News produces.
But
we are concerned about the trouble and trend of irresponsible, one-sided news stories plaguing our country.
In Armenia, in Gaul, in Spain, in North Africa, military governors were carrying out outrageous suppressions of native populations. I mean, it was not a pretty time to be alive, and what comes down to us then is the yearning to escape from that.
If you have an economic system in which pharmaceutical companies benefit hugely from medical emergencies, where a military-industrial complex benefits from war, where energy companies benefit from energy crises, you are going to generate states of perpetual crisis, where the interests of ordinary people separate from the interests of the elite.
No wonder these people saw the earth as a cesspool and a trap, because that's what it was for them, without doubt. And our own age is very similar.
The sharing of biased and
false news has become all too common on social media.
I mean, we do not have slavery, but we suffer under propaganda, mass manipulation of ideas, and the degradation and exploitation of the third world on a scale the Roman Empire couldn't even dream of.
There's platforms to push their own personal bias and agenda to control exactly what people think, and this is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
Rexispu?
Regnum meum non est hoc mundo.
Once you take Gnosticism and dump the angels and the star demons and all the colorful bric-a-brac of late Roman thinking, what you have is a thoroughgoing existentialism, completely compatible with Jean-Paul Sartre, Jean Genet, and the kind of intellectual despair that characterized the post-World War II generation in Europe. Heidegger is thoroughgoingly Gnostic in his intentionality. It's just that the language is modern and stripped of this magical thinking, and by being stripped of magical thinking, in a way, the modern recension of that state of mind is even more hopeless and disempowering. Fortunately, I think we're moving out of the shadow of that. I'm 44 years old. I grew up reading those people, and it made my adolescence much harder than it needed to be. I mean, my God, there wasn't an iota of hope anywhere to be found, I mean, I quoted to you last night Jean-Paul Sartre's statement that nature is mute. I mean, this is, now I see this as an obscenity almost, an intellectual crime against reason and intuition. It's the absolute antithesis of the Logos.
And a lot of the Gnostic tradition says that the thing that's being gotten wrong is the idea that there was this literal resurrection.
Right.
No, the kingdom of God is here and now. The resurrection is inside of you, and you attain it through gnosis. These people believed that the thing that's important is not what Jesus did, but what he said. The thing that's important is the knowledge. The thing that's important,
yeah, right.
And so this resurrection stuff sort of doesn't matter. Now the thing is, in that early church community, somebody who said, well, this question of like the resurrection is a physical, historical event, that you're kind of missing the point. The thing that matters is like, the resurrection that takes place inside of every person.
Yeah.
It sort of sounds a little bit like the kind of approach that you would take. Now, if that's true, that would mean that in the early church, you'd have been condemned as a heretic.
See, one of the things I really like about the bodily tradition of the resurrection is that what it does that's so remarkable is that it doesn't desacralize the body. And that's very, very important. I think the fundamental problem with Gnosticism is that it's very easy for it to become a doctrine that's contemptuous of the body and contemptuous of the of the material world.
A great deal of the Gnostic tradition literally believes that the material world is created by an evil demiurge.
Right, exactly.
Right.
Well, exactly.
And Jesus comes to save us from that.
The insistence on the bodily resurrection is a medication against that.
Oh,
and it's an effective one.
It's over.
We figure out what a scam this is. We figure out that what you're supposed to work for isn't worth having. We figure out that our politicians are buffoons. We discover that all organizations are corrupted by ambition. You know, you get the picture. We figure it out. Well, then, after a lot of arm waving, it should be conceded that because we are so far from God, we cannot set knowing the truth as the standard. We must set our aesthetic compass towards what Wittgenstein called the true enough. Plato said, you know, that the key lay in the concepts the good, the true, and the beautiful. The good, what is it? Tricky, tricky, tricky. The true, what is it? Trickier, even trickier. The beautiful, what is it? Easy to discern.
Now, where do you go? The answer is so obvious. You go to nature. You see, what I see going on in the Amazon is a very radical psycholytic therapy. And I think it's the task of the new shamans to take the metaphor of the jungle and enrich our own lives with it. The intuition of religion is that there is something which is drawing everything toward it. Western science is very concerned to deny what is called telos. Telos is a Greek term for purpose. Well, it has been for the past 150 years extremely fashionable to deny telos in nature, to say that, you know, any apparent order in nature is an illusion. You see, what we deny as a culture of materialist, positivist reductionists is the presence of spirit in the world, in ourselves, or in nature.
The Enlightenment view of the world, which has guided our technological and scientific endeavor, our conceptual endeavor, our philosophical endeavor for a few hundred years, there's something about it that's wrong. Scientists themselves from a multitude of different disciplines understand that the idea that we see the world as a place of facts, or that we see the world as rational creatures, or that you can even see the world that way, is wrong. The structure through which you see the world is a story.
The main thing that you get with these so-called primitive, pre-literate people is they are in the moment. They know how to have fun. They know how to work. They know how to live. And the reason they understand this is because they are focused within the confines of the felt presence of experience. They do not live by abstraction. And abstraction is the knife poised at our hearts. These people in the Amazon have nothing. The wonderful thing about the Amazon is that nothing lasts. Nothing is worth having. I mean, a book, forget it. Clothing, houses, everything is just swept away by the incessant recycling of material. So all that is permanent are values. Personality, strength, honesty, decency, dignity. These are things which can be erected against the flow and have some hope of permanence.
So, you know, shamanism is permission to transcend anxiety by accepting the transience of all form. And this is a truth of the universe that cannot be ignored. And then what you discover is not the white light, but what you really discover is sentient, organized, living, loving nature. That nature is a force. Nature is a mind, a personality, organized with intentionality, organized with feeling, humor, grace, and conviction. And if you can get right with that conviction, then that's the secret of dancing in the waterfall. This greater Gaian holism, which is sometimes called nature, the great spirit, the realm of the ancestors, it gives the universe the feeling of being imbued with a caring presence. This is what the archaic mind understood. Our own decision to view the universe as dead, as inanimate, as unintelligent, allowed us, permitted us to dissect it, use it, and deny its validity outside of human purpose. Now the consequences of living like that is coming back to haunt us. So the archaic holds answers, but it only holds answers if we are willing to think of the universe as a living, intelligent entity with which we are in partnership, not set against, but that in fact we are a part of a morphogenetic intent and an unfolding reality that is larger than human understanding. Imagine larger than human understanding. Conspiracy theory is a kind of epistemological cartoon about reality. I mean, isn't it so simple to believe that things are run by the Greys and that all we have to do is trade sufficient fetal tissue to them and we can solve our technological problems? Or isn't it comforting to believe that the Jews are behind everything, or the Communist Party, or the Catholic Church, or the Masons? Well, these are epistemological cartoons. I believe that the truth of the matter is far more terrifying. That the real truth that dare not speak itself is that no one is in control. You learn how the world really works, how things happen. Well, how the hell do they happen? Well, on the simplest level, they happen like this. They have a beginning, they have a middle, and then they die away as an oscillation, a damped oscillation. Now, this simple truth to which we all nod assent is, in fact, the hardest thing, the hardest swallow there is for the dominator ego and the dominator personality. Because what this simple truth says, things come into being, they achieve their inflorescence and they fade away, is, as Heraclitus put it, pantit rea. All flows. Nothing lasts. Nothing is saved. And this is, our glory and our agony. That, the people we love and the people we hate are swept away by time. Empires, dynasties, continents are swept away by time.
Psalm 102. My days are like the evening shadow. I wither away like grass. But you, Lord, sit enthroned forever. Your years go on through all generations. In the beginning you laid the foundations of the earth, and the heavens are the work of your hands. They will perish, but you remain.